Am I the asshole for asking my son to consider the needs of his brother when planning the food for his wedding? My eldest son, Robert, age 33, just finished his time in the Canadian Armed Forces, and he's moved back to our city now that he's out. Robert also recently got married. Because of the pandemic restrictions in our province at the time, and because they didn't want anyone to catch coronavirus, they just went to City Hall and didn't have a ceremony or any guests or anyone there. They shared photos of it to those who wanted. Once things are safe, they'll have the reception with guests and dinner and dancing and everything else. Obviously, nothing is set in stone, but they have begun getting ideas about what they want for the reception. Me, aged 58, and my wife, aged 54, asked Robert to think our younger son, John, aged 29, and his needs when they choose the food for the reception. John has struggled with his weight. At his heaviest, John weighed almost 204 kg. That's 450 pounds. 5 years ago, John had bariatric surgery and he lost weight, but he still weighs about 136 kg, which is 300 pounds. Even after the surgery, which did help, he had a difficult time and he's still trying to lose weight. In terms of the wedding reception, we were thinking of things like a plated meal as opposed to an open buffet, like they were thinking of having vegetarian/low carb and other healthy food instead of more calorie-rich foods, and nothing too big for dessert and or sugar-free or light food. We presented several concrete options for edible food, but low calorie and healthy ideas. We also thought the other guests might appreciate less temptations. Robert was not receptive to our request. He says they will do whatever they want and John can, quote unquote, deal with it. I know it's difficult to understand if you've never had issues with your weight, and Robert is in above average shape due to his time in the Canadian Armed Forces. Robert said he wouldn't even bring this up with his wife. He isn't at all happy with us right now. Even John tried speaking with him and he got nowhere. I don't believe so, but Robert certainly does. So, am I the asshole for asking my son to consider the needs of his brother when planning the food for his wedding? And the top comment coming in with 40,000 upvotes. You're the asshole. It's supposed to be a wedding celebration for your oldest son and his wife, not a day to cater to the needs of your youngest. If John can't handle a buffet with rich foods, then he should stay home. Next comment, 15,000 upvotes. As an adult, John needs to handle his own food issues. The daily world doesn't revolve around him. So why should the wedding? Way to play favorites. Next comment, 6,000 upvotes. I would at most have a healthier option because the brother wouldn't be the only one that wants to try eating lighter. It would be a problem to make all options healthier. It wouldn't fly in Pittsburgh if you didn't have a cookie table. You're the asshole. Next comment, 4,000 upvotes. With a buffet, you can get smaller portions too. Next comment, 4,000 upvotes. Imagine being 29 and having your parents fighting to change someone else's entire wedding menu on your behalf because they think you have so little self-control. That is beyond humiliating. Does John even want this? If the OP wants to worry about John's calories, maybe it's time to finally cut the freaking umbilical cord. Next comment, 2,000 upvotes. Gosh, seriously. I thought that perhaps John had allergies and Robert wasn't being overly accommodating with safe options for the food. But geez, not only asking, but expecting Robert to plan his wedding menu around an adult who is completely incapable of exercising self-control even after gastric surgery? Poofed. No, ma'am, I don't think so. And my vote, I am going to go ahead and say that the dad is the asshole for the sake of judgment. I do understand from a parent's perspective where he's coming from to a point, but it is his oldest son's wedding, so he's got to respect whose wedding it is. Bring on the mac and cheese. Bring on the carbs. What do you guys think? Do you think the dad's the asshole? Let me know. The asshole for not being Irish? I have Irish great-great-grandparents. I live in England, as has all of my relatives since 1910. I have recently started to have an American live with me, and she introduces herself to people as quote-unquote Irish. Now, I know Americans do this weird thing where they believe they are where their ancestors came from. We Europeans find this hilarious, but what are you gonna do? Recently, I have been researching my family history, and she got involved. She is now saying that I should go around saying I am quote-unquote Irish. Otherwise, it is disrespectful to my ancestors. The problem is, I am not Irish, I am English. I don't know Irish culture. I have never been to Ireland. I am English. I would argue she isn't Irish either, since she has never been to Ireland, nor knows Irish culture. But still, she can introduce herself however she wants. She is getting incredibly upset that I am refusing to say I am Irish, and she has even started to introduce me as her Irish friend. I told her to stop, and she got annoyed. I mean, where do you draw the line on ancestors anyway? Should I introduce myself as African before all my ancestors started out in Africa? No. So, am I the asshole for not saying that I am Irish? And the top comment coming in with 21,000 upvotes. Not the asshole. As an Irish person, I can safely say you are right. She's not Irish, nor are you. Americans give themselves a bad name claiming to be Irish due to a vague ancestry. Next comment, 4,000 upvotes. I am Irish as well, and I agree with this. Next comment, 6,000 upvotes. I'm American with Irish ancestors, and I agree. I have no idea why people do this. I cringe when I think about my brother's Irish-inspired tattoos. We have never been to Ireland, and as far as I know, we haven't had any connection in generations. Next comment, 2,000 upvotes. Why are people like this? It's ridiculous. Next comment coming in with 13,000 upvotes. Americans feel they have connection to their ancestors and their heritage from whatever country they came from before America because of immigration. If your family immigrated here after England came, it's likely those immigrants were discriminated at some point. This causes a seclusion in community. This means it was likely that an Italian immigrant lived in a community mostly of Italian immigrants in America where it was safe for them. Then, subsequently, their descendants stays in or near that community. Since these communities stayed closed off for a while, they have several things that only groups of Italians do, a small, unique subset of American culture, mostly exclusive to Italian immigrants and their descendants. This includes phrases and speech, such as the weird Italian American pronunciations of words likely caused by children and grandchildren trying to mimic Italian without understanding it, or the words are from an old Sicilian dialect that isn't spoken anymore. But Americans learned it, and actual Italians don't sound like that anymore. This also includes food dishes being radically different, but still based on traditional Italian dishes because they didn't have access to the right ingredients, so they modified recipes. Their parents or grandparents all talk about Italy to them, and some pick up some Italian. So they identify their heritage with their family because their parents and grandparents did, and because their community does. Saying you're Italian while in America, though, is only something you should say in America because the meaning there is accurately understood. Saying it in Europe confuses everyone and makes you look like an a-hole. Do some people take it too far? Are some people weird about it? Also, yeah. But I think people dismiss this aspect of American culture too quickly. Anyway, OP isn't the a-hole. LOL. And my vote, I actually really like what this person just said. My vote, not the asshole. I totally identify as Italian because my grandparents came here from Italy, but I've never been to Italy. I was named after a river in Ireland, but I've never been to Ireland.